Cultivating creativity in conservation science, the ethics of de-extinction, and wind energy development are among 34 topics covered in the April-May issue of Conservation Biology. I'm Nate Spillman with the Society for Conservation Biology, and I'm joined by Mark Burgman, the editor-in-chief of SCB's journal, Conservation Biology. Mark, I noted some of the topics covered in this issue, and there are a lot of them. What stands out to you about this issue?
Well, there's a few things. Of course, the editor's choice. Particularly like the paper that looks at the intersection between whip crane pathways, migratory pathways, and wind energy generation opportunities. I think that's it's an issue that has arisen elsewhere in the world. The intersection between wind energy and bird conservation. It'll become a more important topic in the future. And with a little bit of common sense and some good mathematics and some good planning, it's an avoidable problem. And I think that's what this paper shows, that just with a little care, we can make these things. We can adapt to this new technology. There's a ton of interesting papers. As with the other issues, there's an enormous range of material. The one that struck me was the paper by Bosenbull. I apologise if I mispronounced the name, but on ancient sedimentary DNA, the notion of using DNA from sediments to reinforce the inferences that we draw from pollen cores. This provides us with a much more reliable benchmark for identifying what past climates can tell us and what kinds of ecosystems may have existed in various places before human intervention and before human impacts. They provide us with some kind of baseline to manage against shifting baselines, which is a very, very important current topic. So for a lot of reasons, it's very interesting and it was novel, and I was surprised it worked.
What paper has the greatest potential for impact?
Well, I've got to show my age here, but I really do think it's the editorial on Twitter literacy. The very fact that our colleagues in this journal have obliged me to become Twitter literate has opened my eyes to the fact that this technology actually does have a use beyond stars telling us when they're getting out of their moving vehicles. I think it's a potentially very powerful tool, and it's wonderful to be made aware of it, especially for people my generation and maybe even the generation below me.
Yeah, it's a great editorial, and the authors try to demonstrate how Twitter can be really effective at delivering conservation messages. What is the best essay in this issue of the journal?
You know, I knew this question was coming, Nate, and I think, so I looked carefully at the 3 essays, and I think they're all brilliant. I think they are perhaps the best thing about the journal. In this issue, these 3 essays, wildly different, nicely constructed, thoughtful, interesting, thought-provoking. I'm glad we've had the honour to publish all 3 of them. I think they're all terrific, so I'm not going to discriminate between them.
Okay. You have a paper in this issue titled Voting Systems for Environmental Decisions. Can you tell us a little bit about this paper and what's new about the findings you present?
Sure. I must say that we submitted this before I became editor, and so the editorial process was independent of me. It stood as much chance of being rejected as anyone else who submits a paper. But this was the product of an NC's workshop. The authors are philosophers and mathematicians as well as biologists. The focus of the paper is essentially that a proof by Arrow in the 1950s, which he got the Nobel Prize later, is that there is no such thing as a fair voting system, a completely fair voting system. And we had noted that in the literature, biologists particularly create voting systems. Some of them are very complicated, and it's virtually impossible to know what the pitfalls of those voting systems are. So we identified several relatively simple and effective voting systems for which the properties are known, so that when biologists want to accumulate preferences and make decisions using some kind of voting system, that they are aware of where these particular systems have weaknesses, and they're also so that they're also aware that there is no such thing as a completely impartial and fair voting system.
And that's it. There you have it. There's a look at the April-May issue of Conservation Biology. If you're a member of SCB and you subscribe to the journal, you can access it via your SCB member homepage at www.conbio.org. While we're talking a little bit about Twitter, I'll give a plug to the journal's Twitter handle. It's @conbiology. If you follow the journal on Twitter, it's a good way to stay abreast of all the latest issues being published in the journal. Thanks, Mark, for being with us today and going over the issue.
Thank you, Nate. I'll see you next time.
See you next time.